Hi everyone, how are you? David here. This is You First Weekly number 27. And this video is going out on Friday, the 12th of March, for our You First members. And we thought we'd do something slightly different this week, because today, if my calculations are right, is the 1 year anniversary of the government announcing that schools were closing here due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Which certainly for me, and I'd say a lot of people, represented the beginning of adjusting to the new reality that we have been living with for the past year. So I wanted to ask the members of the Below the Line team just to share with me and you what are some of the reflections that they have on the past 12 months in terms of adjusting to the new reality. What are some of the things that they have done or changed, or maybe what have been some of the things that have helped them to cope and contribute and be at their best during what has been a really difficult and challenging time for lots of us. So I hope you enjoy the video. Thanks for being with us as always. And I'll leave it now over to the guys to share their reflections with you. Thanks a million.
Hi guys, just sharing a couple of thoughts, reflections, insights maybe from the past 12 months, the lockdown experience. If I'm being honest, I think I'm still sort of processing certain things in terms of learnings. So it's probably a little bit of a reflection in progress, but definitely I think for me, a couple of things that do stand out. I think one, I've really gotten a renewed appreciation for slowing down and for maybe bringing a little bit more intention to how I'm living and to what's important to me in life. I would have spent the first 6 months of last year, if COVID hadn't happened, doing lots of travel for work around Europe, and I would have missed out on a lot of family stuff. So it's definitely made me reprioritize, I think, how I want to live life, what I'm going to give my energy and my time to. I think the second thing I've realized is the importance of my own DNA, my own daily non-negotiable activities. And in particular, grounding, I think, has played a significant role for me in how I've managed my own energy, and how I've developed my own practice, my own DNA practice over the last year, 2 years even. Another thing that's been really important is gratituding and writing it down every morning, pretty much most days. 5 minutes over a pint of hot water and lemon in the morning doesn't take me long. That's been really important. Lots of books that I've been just starting to read and have read some. Really enjoyed Atomic Habits. Really enjoying Cal Newport's book Deep Work at the moment. Matthew McConaughey's book Green Lights. I've just started that too. A couple of books on the go at the moment. So yeah, I think it's allowed me to reconfigure and just check in a little bit more with myself. And don't get me wrong, I've had challenges. I've had some personal challenges, some professional challenges too. That's all part of the journey of life, I guess. So a couple of thoughts and reflections from me.
Hi there. Following a conversation with my Below the Line colleague David Duggan, I was prompted to just share a few reflections on things that I have found helpful during the COVID-19 period. So during that time, another one of my colleagues, Ian Kingston, and myself have had a lot of one-to-one conversations, and I christened them our inner MBA calls. And what I was getting at there was that these were opportunities to go to our learning edge and work on that learning edge. And so there was a balance between being supportive and being challenging of each other's. That is one thing that has helped greatly during the period of COVID. Something material that I have found very helpful comes from a couple of Standout Podcasts. One of them was with Tim Ferriss when he interviewed a guy called Dr. Jim Lohr talking about mental toughness. I would highly recommend it to anybody. And the other one is a high performance podcast that was done with Johnny Wilkinson, the former English rugby player. And he talked about how a mental breakdown led him to, in effect, a complete rewire of how he approached life. It's a fascinating interview. So those two have been real go-to items for me. Another thing that has sustained me, those who know me will know that I'm big into music, both playing it and listening to it. So one of my practices regularly during COVID has been to play a bit of music at lunchtime. Sometimes it's to listen to some music that I particularly like. Other times it's to pick up the accordion and just play a few tunes. That might be for 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, and then resume my work. Another practice that I've got into during COVID time is daily exercise in the morning. So that's a combination of cycling, walking, stretching, and intention setting for the day. So they're just a few thoughts that have certainly been helpful to me during COVID. I hope that's helpful. Bye-bye.
So, with nearly a year into COVID, the biggest lesson for me over the past year has been that it's been right in front of me all the time. And what I mean by that is that, given the restrictions we've all been living with in the best part of the last 12 months, that so much of what I've needed has been right in front of me. And I've spent a lot of my previous years travelling around Ireland and travelling around the world and thoroughly enjoying it, and not really contemplating anything else except this is normal. So when I reflect on the last year, I think of lots of things. I think of how I've begun to notice the seasons coming in and going out and noticing the detail of that. We live beside Marley Park here, and I've had the opportunity to walk in the park on a very regular basis and notice the trees and notice the birds and notice the ducklings and notice just everything changing gradually right throughout the year, and that's been absolutely magical. Another lovely reflection has been to just reacquaint myself with reading books, listening to podcasts, watching my favourite movies and watching some new movies, which I never really had time to do in recent years. Spending time just maybe bumping into my daughter, my son, my wife here at home and having a lunch together for 10 minutes, even 15 minutes, and just really sucking up the beauty of that and the preciousness of that, and eating home cooked food and cooking has been another thing for me, more so than the past. I fell in love with the west of Ireland again, and we're very lucky to be able to go up to Donegal when we're not in lockdown, and find myself for the first time in my life really swimming in the sea. It was always there. And enjoying Donegal, which in pretty much most of my lifetime it's always been there, but we've never really had time to go up there on any sort of regular basis. There's always been in our minds somewhere better to go, and that typically involved jumping on a plane. So when I look back on the last year and I think about it, that's my abiding memory, is that what I need for the most part is right in front of me. I took a walk yesterday with one of my below the line colleagues whom I hadn't seen since the 11th of March, and today is the 3rd of March, and I hadn't seen him since the 11th of March, and it felt like it just didn't feel like that, because one of the other wonderful things that's happened in the last year is that we've actually connected more, and I feel closer to my colleagues in below the line than I ever did, because we see each other a lot more through our press pauses and through other engagements we have. We meet every Tuesday morning, and we meet in lots of other ways online, and we've had some incredible conversations, deeply personal ones, in ways that I just didn't think we would ever do in the online medium. So that's been an absolute blessing. And finally, I'd say when I look back on the year that has been, there's quite a lot of it that I, will keep as we go forward. There'll be some things, I let go and I look for other things to come into their space, if you like. But there's an awful lot that I'll keep. And most of that will be the simple things. The simple walks, the simple hikes, the great conversations, the eating at home, and that type of stuff. So that's my reflection on the year, and I'm looking forward to the world continually evolving and us moving out of this phase, but not losing some of the magic that we've had in this phase.